So, one of the things I've noticed lately is that people are more willing to look at their fears and to face them. In fact, in my Success Circle program that I offer for my advanced students, well, I mean, you're all advanced, but these are the students that have gone through my whole curriculum with me. Just this week, we were discussing what was keeping us from self realization. And I shared that I believe that it's lack of willingness. One of the things is lack of willingness to face what scares us. That those scary things that show up on our path are great gifts because when we face them, we find on the other side, we're one step closer to our own self realization. And when I asked everyone who was going to be really committed to go for the gold, even if it meant stepping outside their comfort zones and feeling discomfort, every hand went up and said, I'm in. Hi, I'm Deborah Poneman, founder of Yes to Success, where we share knowledge and tools for you to live your ultimate life and ageless, anti-aging for your brain, your body, and your bliss. And this week, I'm coming to you from an undisclosed location in Mexico, where I am enjoying my biannual meeting with the wonderful Transformational Leadership Council. And sorry about the lighting, but my light decided not to work today. So be it. Thus, semi-sunglasses, also known as blue blockers. So back to the subject. So not only do I see that people are more willing to step outside their comfort zones, I also see that people are letting themselves have bigger dreams, and they become more committed to their dreams, and they know that if they play it safe, living their dreams will probably not happen. As I'm sure you've heard so many other teachers say, if you're not scaring yourself every day, you're not thinking big enough. And something my friend Mary Pat Knight of Leaders Inspired once said is when you do something outside your comfort zone, this is your comfort zone, and here's something outside your comfort zone, not only is that where your success lies, but your comfort zone then expands. So the remarkable reward of constantly doing things outside your comfort zone is that doing those hard things become easy because you're getting the momentum going. But then there comes a point where you're called on to take that big risk, that one where you're really called upon to, for example, stand up for your truth and risk something really big. You know, I was on a call of the diversity committee of the Transformational Leadership Council a while back, and we were talking about how one of the greatest reasons we don't stand in our truth is that we're afraid that we might lose friends or clients. So we do this dance to try and please all of the people all of the time, which basically will never work. It's just not possible. I remember the wonderful Lisa Nichols sharing something that really struck me in my heart. And she said, the times demand that you evict the need to protect your image. So what does that mean? Evict the need to protect your image. Well, it's a scary thing to do, but it doesn't look like, I totally support, for example, Black Lives Matter, but I'm not going to say that in my community or on my podcast. What if I lose people who aren't into equity and inclusion and social justice? So basically, what we're saying is that we're willing to forgo the impact for the future of our planet that sharing our truth can have in order to protect your database. But have you noticed that people who change the world don't play it safe? It doesn't take courage to be silent, and it's not convenient to speak up. But truth is never convenient, and growth is never convenient. Lisa went on to say, this I know for sure, for every 7 people who leave my database, 70 will come in if I stand in my truth. When I made the commitment to stand in my truth, I'm sure I lost more than 7 people, but I'm sure I gained something greater than 70 new people. I gained self-respect. I gained self-love. And I was telling the universe, I know you will provide for me in other ways if I do what I feel is right, even if others disagree. If you stand up for your truth, whatever that is, and lose friends, you have to ask yourself, are those the friends you want in your life anyway? If you lose followers, are those your people anyway? And it's not that I want people to leave my community who have different worldviews than I do. And it's not that I don't love those people and wish them well. Everyone is entitled to their own political opinion, social worldview. But I used to stay silent because I wasn't okay with people not liking me. I am so fine with it now. What I'm not fine with is being silent about the things that I believe in. What I don't feel right about is anyone thinking that they are better or more worthy than anyone else. It takes courage to be brave and stand up for your truth when it can affect your livelihood. But again, courage and bravery don't come with convenience. If it's true conviction, it will cost you something. The greatest cost could even be your life. So what? I think we all agree that this bag of bones is not the end of the line. I also remember the story about how a man goes to the gates of heaven and says to the guardian at the gates of heaven, the guardian says, why do you feel that you believe that you should be led into heaven? And the guy says, because I am such a good person. I don't have an enemy in the world. I don't have anybody who doesn't like me. I'm just good all the time. And the guardian at the gate of heaven says, you have just earned yourself a first-class ticket to hell. Because if you want to really affect change in the world, you'll probably make some enemies. I also remember Lisa Nichols saying, she's so brilliant, fear shows up not because you're on the wrong path, but because you're on the right path. If you're not afraid, you're probably, again, not playing big enough. Fear shows up as you get closer and closer to making your true contribution to the world. And no one promised any of us that life would be easy or safe. And when you overcome the big challenges, the really scary stuff, that's when the greatest growth takes place. And if the truth be known, ultimately, we're not doing what we do for outcomes anyway. We do it for the personal growth that takes place on the way to the outcome, whatever it turns out to be. And we do what we do to learn to trust our inner voice, to trust our intuition, to do what our intuition is asking us to do, even if it's scary. Sometimes people say, but I don't know what my intuition wants me to do. And you know what? I don't believe you. You do know. You just don't want to do it because it's scary. Because there's no for sures when you follow that guidance. Intuition isn't linear, and sometimes what that voice tells us to do seems unreasonable. But when you listen, you're putting the outcome in the hands of that intelligence that knows exactly what she is doing. One of my favorite quotes in the Bible is from Psalm 126. When man says, show me and I will trust you, God says, trust me and I will show you. Doesn't that give you goosebumps? So here's a little trick. Next time you're in a situation when you're faced with obstacles or afraid to take a step or a stand, do this. Stop, locate where the tension is, where the fear is in your body. Is it in your throat? That's where mine is lodged. In your heart, in your gut. Breathe into it. And then ask that tension, ask that fear, what it's there to teach you. And I promise there will be a message. The first time it might be difficult to follow the promptings of that message, but I'm telling you, you will be rewarded so generously if you do that you won't be able to wait until the next time it speaks to you. And each time you follow that voice, it will get easier and easier. And then it starts being fun. So you start looking for the moment that you have the chance to surrender and to trust. And I want to end with two quotes. One is from Meghan Markle, who said this in her Netflix show, the Netflix series, which I highly recommend. It was quite extraordinary. And she said when a group of her friends were together and they were naming their year last year, she said, my thought was, and this is a quote, paraphrase quote, she said something like, I thought my word for the year has to be peace. And then I thought about it more and I realized it had to be truth, because you can't have peace without truth. And finally, a quote that my son once shared with me. He said, "You relax on a plane, even though you don't know the pilot. You relax on a ship, even though you don't know the captain. You relax on a bus, even though you don't know the driver. Why wouldn't you relax in life, knowing that the Creator is in control?" Just saying. Love you all and have a fabulous week living your truth. Bye for now.